Creatures panel. My name is Carly, but that doesn't really matter, I'm just asking questions. I will first let these three introduce themselves. They were in the original Star Wars films. So if you'd say your name and maybe like the creature that you played, something about that.
Good afternoon. My name's Hugh Spight, and I was in Return of the Jedi.
There you go.
Hi there, my name is Eileen Roberts, and I was in New Hope Episode 4, known then 40 years ago as The Walrus, and since was given the name Mosep Binid. Pass you on to my colleague.
Hi guys, my name's David Stone, and I played Wyosphere, who was this beautiful character I'm going to show you a photo of. Okay.
Fantastic, and just so our audience know, anytime you have a question, please feel free to ask it. The first thing I wanted to ask was, how did you come to play parts in Star Wars? How?
Directed to me?
Start, so whichever. Yeah.
I was at Elstree Studios. We were filming The Dark Crystal. We'd been there about 3 months, and we were just coming to the end of filming. And Star Wars had moved into the studio because George Lucas built the biggest indoor stage in Europe, you know, for all the hangar scenes. That was all built at Elstree Studios. And one day they came over and said, would any of you be interested in coming over and doing some body puppetry on some scenes, you know, in Star Wars? So we said, you know. But I said to people, we had no idea. In those days, you had no idea what this was going to become. It was not possible to understand it. And in some ways, it was just another job.
My story basically is that I got a call from my then agent, the David Agency in Holborn, and they said, Eileen, we cannot tell you too much about this job at Elstree, but please go along for a hat fitting. But that was just kind of a little bit of a mystery. So I went along, I think, on a Monday, had my head measured, went into a prosthetics department, and when I actually got the call, a week later, I was given a number. I was told I couldn't know the name of the character at that point, and a number coincided with this head, which was both made up of makeup, generally rubber and prosthetics added on, and that was 6 weeks' work, working straight through 12 hours a day under that head, continental hours, which meant we worked from midday, or my bit was from midday till 12 hours a day, with very little breaks. And when I did have a break, I would have the head taken off and rest and do some knitting in between. David?
Thank you. Thanks, Eileen. The character I played, I went for an audition, would you believe? I don't know why they wanted to audition such a funny-looking monster, but anyway, they told me that the head's fitted, and it was a rubber mould that they looked for somebody with this, who would fit this particular head. I don't know why it had to be me, and we called it the multi-eyed creature. And then later on, after a few years, these characters were actually given names in Star Wars, and that's when I was given the name Wyosphere. But it was the most uncomfortable thing I can tell you to wear. Eileen used to call it the multi-eyed creature, and she used to hang on to the tentacles either side, pulling them, and we used to have big fun. We used to say, do you fancy me looking like this? It was quite hilarious, wasn't it? Because we actually worked on the cantina scene together, Eileen and me, and many others. I mean, there was Laurie Good, Pam Rose, Rusty, and various other. Anyway, that's.
Fantastic, thank you. So what I wanted to ask next was actually what the process was for dressing up as your creature. Like how long did it take? Like what did you have to go through to dress up as the Gomorrean guard and be, yeah.
Fortunately, the Gomorrean guard wasn't too bad actually. It was quite a heavy costume, but not suffocating. And we'd rehearsed the scene without the head on. The arms had extensions, as like a gorilla. The arms are proportionally much longer than a human form. Same with the pigs. And I had a grip, and the hand was that much longer. And as I did this, so the hand did that. So we would rehearse without the head on, without the hands on, get the shot right, and then they'd say, heads on, hands on, and off we go. And we'd maybe do 2-3 takes, and then we would rest again.
Well, in my case, it was a cross between the rubber head cast on top, but also sitting in the makeup chair to have various things added or a little bit of prosthetics. And this very, very tiny mouth here, I had to have a straw to eat or drink, and I couldn't breathe very well. So there were lots of tears under this mask, I assure you, and mostly 12 hours a day until we protested and said, look, this is impossible. We've got to have some kind of a break. And it was very, very, very hard indeed, and hot, and very, very uncomfortable. 12 hours a day, mostly.
I think the problem was that the actual masks were very difficult to fix, weren't they, Eileen? And so they didn't want to keep taking them on and off, so that's why we had to keep them on for such a long time, because it was a real palaver to put them back on. These days, if they made them, they'd probably have something with Velcro or something that they could have easy access to get them off. Yeah, but this was 40 years ago, and they were like moulded to your head. So you were basically underneath. I mean, the only way you could have a drink was I had to put the straws up through my nose, which were in line with my eyes, because the head was much bigger than my head, to enable me to drink. The director, George Lucas, he didn't want us taking them on and off, because in the scenes it would just take so long to get everyone ready, and they only did approximately 1 minute's filming in a day, but probably about 20 or 30 takes. So we had to grin and bear what we had to do, and nowadays they wouldn't put up with it, but we did somehow. I don't know why, but we did, didn't we?
I know that you played both Wyozlia, the multi-eyed creature, and you also got picked up to double the Mark Hamill, is that right?
Yeah.
How did that come about? How did you get that role of B-Wing pilot double role?
Well, I think this photo might explain some of it. This was the B-Wing pilot in Return of the Jedi, and I suppose there was some similarity between me and, well, they thought, me and Mark Hamill. So there was a rocket scene. He was in LA, and there was a rocket scene at Elstree where they wanted someone to double while he was away. So they put me up on a Z extender up to the rocket and sat me in there for about 6 hours, which wasn't very nice, on 4 wires. And they sent me up a sandwich and a cup of coffee on the Z thing. It was okay. But it was quite nice to do it, I suppose, just to say that you've doubled for Mark Hamill. Could have been anybody, I suppose, up there, but anyway, at least I did it. I'm here to tell the tale. So that's it. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much. Hugh, well, his name was miscredited. I know that he did have some kind of credit for his name, but were you just the creatures in the new poem?
Well, we were then.
Yeah.
Just know, well, I haven't got the call sheet, but I'm selling the call sheets on my stand from 1976, and that was. You say none of us knew how big this was going to be, but there was something that was steeped in some secrecy, don't you think? Yeah. And I was just called the walrus. You were the multi-eyed creature, but there was an undercurrent. There was an undercurrent that something could explode, and certainly did.
Definitely. Does anyone have any questions, actually, for these three? Ooh, goodness, yeah.
Do you still get paid from showing stuff?
Do you still get paid from Star Wars?
No.
Or
Not in that sense, but I mean, I was thinking something today actually. I mean, I started off as a dancer, ballet dancer, and you're as good as your last audition in this business. Not only that, there's no golden handshake. There's no pension. So for me, it's tremendous that now at my age that something is coming back, and it's like payback time, and I'm very grateful. It's like a second pension. But other than that, we all got. I mean, I did get paid when they sold Star Wars to VHS. I actually got paid 100% again. Everybody did that was in the film. But that was going way back in the early 80s.
And just an interesting, might be digressing slightly, but I was asking about my head, where my costume and head was, and it's owned by a private collector in Paris. I'm going to be taken to see it hopefully soon, and I could have actually had that myself. I had the chance to take that.
do they offer you just like the...
Many things, yeah, after that, if only.
I don't think nobody realised how big Star Wars was going to be. If it had been a television production, we would have got repeat fees for every time it had been shown. But because it was a feature film, you signed the rights of your presence away. So, if you worked on EastEnders or something like that, you'd get repeats all the time because it'd be sold to a gold TV and all different channels. But Star Wars, because it was a big production film, it wasn't the case. So, as Hugh said, you didn't get anything extra, which was a shame, because we would have been multi-millionaires like the rest of them.
Another question?
I just want to say, I've got one thing. People say, "Oh, have you got anything from it?" I've got one thing which is quite original. I don't know if you know, but the original title of Return of the Jedi was Revenge of the Jedi. And I have got a crew sweatshirt at home, and it says Star Wars Revenge of the Jedi. So somebody said, that's worth a ball too.
Say if you want to know, you always. You had a question?
Yeah, in Star Wars, George Lucas, the director, what was it like to get on with George Lucas?
Did you get on with George Lucas?
Yeah, he's very professional, he's quite precise. Hence he was only doing 1 minute's filming a day. He used to do 20 or 30 shots, and sometimes it could drive you mad, but he knew what he wanted, and that's how he operated. It wasn't sort of to turn out like EastEnders. He just did so many shots, of one particular scene. They'd probably do 1 minute film in a day. So, no, he was a very pleasant man. Very, very pleasant. And Mark and Alec Guinness, they're the main ones that I had dealings with.
I just wanted to add something. Come and see us. We're going to do some deals on our photos, just hopefully for this limited crowd. So on our stands, we're going to do some deals. Yeah, you up for it? Are you up for it? Okay.
Do you have anything else about George Lucas that you
David said my bit.
Oh,
All I've said.
No, I was say, he knew exactly what he wanted, and he would be patient. He was a very patient man. He didn't lose his cool. He knew what he wanted, and he said, no, we'll do that again, take that again. And when we do this, you do that. That's the way things work. And sometimes he can get it in 3 or 4 takes, or it could take 24. But he would get it. He would get what he wanted.
As a follow-up to that, for the 3 of you, what were your specific directions like for your creatures? Like, was it you specifically? Was he really picky about like where you stood and what you were supposed to be doing?
Oh, he directed me, yes, he certainly directed well, and through his first AD, Tony Way, oh, I'm sorry, on the New Hope, episode 4 was Tony Way, George Lucas's first AD, and we were directed, in our case, in the cantina and the street scene, and the street scene was Mark Harrison, Alec Guinness, so you had all this to be aware of, and the direction was thorough. Yeah, very, very well directed.
It's very hard to remember all this. You know, it's 40 years ago. You've got to remember that one of the actual characters I was very fond of was Chrissy Hewitt. I don't know whether anybody knows her. She used to be sort of a girlfriend in inverted commas. She was one of the Tonica twins in the original Star Wars. I don't know whether you know the 2 girls at the bar.
Hooded.
Yeah, hooded girls. But she was a lovely person. No, George Lucas knew exactly what he wanted. That's why and I think he knew, he had more up his sleeve about Star Wars than anybody could imagine. So he must have known exactly what he was up to. But he was suspicious of all the people on the film. So that's why there was a top hat kept on a lot of secrets. And then all of a sudden it exploded, and then everybody realised why. You know, it's been phenomenal for him and for everybody else.
I've got this little scene where I'm holding Han Solo, and we have to take him down to the dungeon, if you remember. He actually gave us very explicit directions, Harrison Ford, what he was going to do and what he wanted us to do. There were 2 of us holding him, and it got really quite physical. Actually, he didn't hold back, and it was quite hard in a costume and visiting him very with feet that big and big hands, to restrain him. And the other chap, there were 2 of us. And we started to go down the stairs and was really struggling, and the other guy actually fell down the stairs completely. And he was another dancer, and he got very upset because we had feet that big and the stairs were that big. And so he said he wasn't doing it again, so we had to get somebody else to stand in for him because he said it's just too rough. But Harrison Ford didn't pull any punches either.
Star Wars itself, notwithstanding, Hugh, you've already mentioned that you got in as a dancer. But how did you all actually start in?
Started in a drama school, and I worked a little for the BBC, and then I had an opportunity came to me as an acting stand-in and double that wasn't just a body but understood the acting side of this. And I had an opportunity to work for Jane Seymour on Live and Let Die, 8 weeks in New Orleans and about the same in Jamaica. And that was very difficult to turn down, although I was thrown whether to stick with the BBC or to take this opportunity, which I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it, doubled for Jane Seymour, married a film cameraman, so travelled the world after that, and never regretted a thing.
Yeah, I went to drama school as well, and that was 3.5 years, and after that I did an audition for The Stud. It was a Jackie Collins novel, and I played one of the studs nights with Oliver Tobias, and that's basically where I had my door opened. And I don't know whether any of you have seen The Stud. Have you seen The Stud? I mean, it's a bit of a crappy, I shouldn't say that, it's a crappy film. I mean, she did The Stud, The Bitch, and then after that, I did the Star, as I said, I did the Star Wars. I went for this fitting for this head. I got somebody who mentioned that they'd be interested to see if I would be interested to do it, and I wasn't that interested. I did it, and then the rest is history. And then after that, I left sort of acting because it's very precarious business, and I basically bought my own house in London and found you could earn a fortune one minute and then not the next. So then I opened my own business and didn't go back to acting. So that's basically what happened. But they fished me out because Eileen, we both worked together, haven't we? And they fished me out to come and do the Star Wars conventions because I'd retired and I sold my business. So it all worked out well. So that's it.
Yeah, my background, I actually went to Cardiff College of Music and Drama when I was 19, and I discovered movement. We had all these movement classes, and I seemed to be the only one that liked it, everybody else hated it. And then a local ballet school was doing a production and asked for some boys to go down and just be on stage. So we really went down to look at the ballerinas, actually. But I mentioned to this ballet mistress that I really liked these movement classes, and she said, would you like to come and do classes at the school for nothing? Well, I was 19 in ballet, I don't know. Anyway, I did. And then I eventually ended up in it, and I went to ballet school. Somebody met me and said, you've got to be a dancer. And I said, no, I'm going to be an actor. And they said, no, you've got to be a dancer. And she persuaded me to go to London and audition in the ballet school, and I got in. So at 20, I'm like the original Billy Elliot in a way. At 20, I went to ballet school. And by the time I came out at 22, I had my first job in Germany. And that, years there, back in England, and then ballet, musicals, film. And then I went to work for the Henson organisation on Dark Crystal as a movement coordinator and full body puppetry. And then Star Wars was next.
Fantastic. I have two more questions, unless anyone else do. She has a question, yes.
Was there anyone that you did like belonging to the set? Or something like that?
Any divas on set with Star Wars? Anyone you didn't like?
Any divas?
Anyone you didn't like?
Particulars on Star Wars? In my case, no.
No, not that I can be aware. No, not I can think of. It's hard, isn't it?
We were young. It was so young.
Yeah.
Only us. We were going divas, the three of us.
I think we were all very young, and we were all just so pleased to be in it and enjoying it. It was all exciting, but the people. I mean, this was the third one. Bear in mind that, well, for me, the Jedi was the third one, and the actors, the lead parts were very established by that time, but we didn't have to suffer anybody in that respect. No.
Just kind of start generally. Favorite role you've ever done? I know David, you said your career is quite short, but do you have a favorite thing you did in your career? Or is...
Can I count just being the double for Jane Seymour? Because for an 18, 19-year-old to be flown out, charter flight, with Roger Moore, God rest his soul, and Jane Seymour, Cubby Broccoli, so on and so forth, was quite incredible, even though it was a body double. When the bus goes under the bridge, insurance-wise, Jane couldn't do that. So I would be on the bus going under the bridge, and lots of long shots, back shots, and all sorts of things like that. So that, although it wasn't an acting, well, it was. You did have to act through it. You did, actually. That was my big thing.
a bit short in terms of how long I was in the film business, but I suppose, I mean, it was all good fun, I think, the Jedi and A New Hope, both of them I enjoyed doing, so what can you say? I mean, it's amazing that you can't imagine the people that follow it. We've been all over Europe, we've been to Europe, America, doing these signings and these photographs. And you just can't imagine the people the amount in the world that follow it. And they're grateful to meet you and find that you've actually been involved in it. I mean, for us, I suppose it was a job we were doing and getting paid. And then to have all this at a later date, it's quite phenomenal. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with that because I've got a British agent now, and a couple of months ago I signed up with an American agent, and I go to Japan in November, and I go to America in January, February, and twice in March. And I think this is a very exciting time, and I'm enjoying every minute of it, much more consciously than, in those days, just sort of one job to the next job and making a living. But now to be enjoying this at this time of life is a great privilege.
Sorry, we got distracted.
Do you have to speak Japanese, Hugh?
どういたしました。
You can't speak sushi. Sushi. Oh, sushi. Are you fans of Star Wars, actually? This is probably the first question I should ask. Are you fans of Star Wars?
Have to be because of my 7-year-old grandson, so I must be.
I think it makes you, when you see the amount of people that follow it, you tend to get carried in, you get brought in with it. So yes.
They're fans of you guys, is what this is.
Yes, as I said, it's a privilege to be just here and enjoying you.
Fantastic. Does anyone else have any other questions before we wrap up? Oh, lots of people. I'm going to go to the one at the back. He hasn't spoken yet. Yes.
Can I ask, do you have a favourite Star Wars film?
Favorite Star Wars film?
Well, Jedi is very important because, I mean, it was before all the computer graphic kicked in. I mean, I know Lucas a couple of years later revamped the whole film, with Jabba moving with them and all that sort of business, but it was still the creativity in that time of the Jedi was quite exciting.
Oh, look, how could it not be? Episode 4, New Hope, the cantina scene, New Hope.
Yeah, and I fully agree with Eileen. I think the first Star Wars, you just got to say the first one was the best one. I don't know, probably a lot of people would disagree, but I think it was one of the best. Yeah, exactly.
And last question. Did you forget?
You've got alcohol.
We have about 3 minutes, so if anyone has a final question they'd like to ask. Oh, okay. Do you stay in contact with any of the other Star Wars cast?
It's, as I said, it's 38 years, and I'm meeting people I haven't seen in 38 years, and it's really exciting. And practically every convention I go to, I meet someone who I haven't seen for that amount of time. The same with Doctor Who. I met Sophie Aldridge a couple of months ago. I haven't seen her. She was 18 years old, when I saw her. And it's exciting to bump into people after all this time.
Yeah, and just in Birmingham the other month, on a general signing for Bond films, Alien, all sorts of films, I came into contact. 52 years I hadn't seen him, the set designer Peter Lamont, who's just written a book on all his Bond films, and we just came across each other and just shed a tear. You know, it was incredible. 52 years on.
I mean, there's still a few characters left. There's Paul Blake, there's Rusty, there's Pam Rose, there's Laurie Good.
All of
This
whom
is-
played creatures?
Pardon?
All of whom played creatures alongside?
These are all features in.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a photo now of the ones that, I mean, there's a few of them I think have gone to heaven. But there is quite a few. Rusty still here, as I said, Laurie. It's like a little family, isn't it? Most of them. We sort of keep in touch.